Hello everyone, and welcome to a very different kind of episode of analyzing today's UFO clips. Episode 10. Now, these past few days have been special ones in the UFO community in the wake of George Knapp's releasing of the new pictures of UFOs taken by military pilots. Story goes as so. These images are captured by an F-18 Weapons Systems officer, better known as WSO, seated behind the pilot, and used his iPhone to capture images of 3 different objects he encountered in the same airspace. Now, I know many of you have already seen these pictures and have probably heard the story already, but one thing that has stood out of these photos is this one particular shot that seemed to have captured the imagination of the masses, and many have actually created illustrations of what they think this particular ship might look like. And I'm here to put in my 2 cents. So let's go ahead and jump into it by modeling this in the 3D software. But first, if you haven't done so yet, please like and subscribe so you don't miss any of these episodes. Oh, and just a heads up, the audio is going to change a little bit because I'm going to step out of my normal recording environment. Okay guys, so here we have our image of the UFO taken by the F-18 WSO. If we look at it closely, when I first saw this image, what I saw personally was a ship at an angle. If you notice, or what I saw was that it's got a round front, it rounds out on the back, and it's got another section right in here. It has a section that kind of, I don't know if it protrudes or it's actually more recessed. I thought it was a little more recessed of another cylinder, kind of like a cylinder inside of a cut cylinder. And off to the sides here, I could see what I perceive were wings with maybe some spheres at the edge. So here is my 3D model. Now let's go ahead and first off, let's look at it from all angles, and let's take the camera version of what I think it looked like. And let's go ahead and render that out. And that's what it looks like. Now when we take it over to Photoshop and compare it to the original picture, let's go ahead and open that. And let's cut out our rendered UFO model. Just a rough cutout. Let's go ahead and paste. And let's bring it over here. And let's make it approximately the same size. Approximately the same size as our object that we see in the photograph. What do y'all think? It looks pretty close to what's in here. You see a shadow right around there. Let's go and make this full screen. A shadow right here, a shadow right there. The sun gleaming off this way. Now I couldn't replicate the way that this shines off the model because I'm just not very good at modeling in 3D. I'm not a professional 3D modeler, nor am I an animator. I won't be working at Pixar anytime soon. But in my rough model, I showed that the light, the way it reflects off of this object, could be what we're looking at over here on the picture. We see a light. We see what I believe is a reflection on this side of the ship that runs from the back all the way to the front. And then of course where the sun really hits it on this side. One more time, a shadow that is kind of curved over here. I got my shadow on this side. Now I know I didn't do it perfectly, but again, I'm not a professional at this. We have some kind of a crest right here, which also appears on this side. And of course these sphere-like objects, what I believe are spheres, at the very end of what I consider to be wings right around here that maybe we can't see very well. Maybe they're thin, just the way I've modeled them over here on this side. The spheres themselves are reflecting off light, reflection, 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 reflection. And this is what I think this is what I think we're looking at. So let's go ahead and back out of this and go to our 3D model. Here is our rough representation, an unrendered raw 3D model of what I rendered. If we look at it from the side, we see our capsule that's kind of cut right around here, then another capsule inside. Now, I'm not saying that the object had two capsules or was comprised of two capsules, but there are evidences, there is an evidence that there's two different shapes in here, an outer shape and more like a kind of a recessed inner shape. So that's what I try to create here, an outside shape and a recessed inner shape. You can appraise it more here. Let's go ahead and make this bigger. We have the shape on the outside, the shape on the inside. We have the spheres and the wings. So let's back out. And let's go ahead and play with this image. Oh, actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and render out the front. That's what it would look like directly from the front if it was coming right at you. Let's go ahead and render the top. Again, it looks from here, obviously it looks like a Tic Tac with two little wings on the side. Now these may not be accurate, but that's just the way I'm modeling it for this particular model. But its basic shape is a Tic Tac. Let's go ahead and look at it from the side. Zoom out a little bit and render. Again, another Tic Tac shaped UFO. No signs of propulsion, of course. In my model there wouldn't be, but we got our little spheres and our wings and that recessed kind of shape that I believe appears in our photograph. Let's close that and let's play with this image here, this perspective. Let's go ahead and go to perspective. Perspective. And let's play with this a little. And let's play with this a little bit. Okay. Let's see what it would look like at this angle. It's right there. Let's change the angle a little bit. Zoom out a little bit. There it is there with the sun shining directly on it. Let's look at it from the bottom. Assuming that it's smooth at the bottom, it would look like this. And now let's do something interesting. Let's see what it would look like if we were on the ground and it was far up in the sky and we were staring at it. And we were staring at it, from the ground. Let's render that out. Look at that. We've seen this shape in many UFO videos. Basically a metallic, small, Tic Tac-like or sphere-like thing up in the air. You can't really tell what it is, but you can tell it's metallic. The sun is shining off of it. Let's zoom in a little bit more. That's what it would look like from a certain distance on the ground. Zoom in a little more. Let's change the angle a little bit. How about this? How about that? Little Tic Tac up in the sky. People would say that's balloons. That's probably balloons up in the sky or a weather balloon or some mylar balloons that escaped some child. But maybe not. Maybe as we zoom in more, what we're actually looking at is a craft. I mean, we don't know, right? But we're just speculating and we're having fun here. Let's look at it from the top. If we were in an airplane and it was flying off in the distance, you look out the window of your airplane and you see a little metallic shape flying in the distance, maybe at a fast speed, maybe it's just hovering. We got to use our imaginations. I mean, this is pretty interesting little rendition of what this might look like if you were in an airplane and you were looking out and you saw it. There's another one. Let's do that again. I think I went too fast. There it is. Let's close it. Look at it from the front. Zoom out. A small little metallic sphere. I mean, this type of thing we see all the time in UFO videos. From the bottom again. Look at that. Tiny little shape. And let's go ahead and zoom in. And let's look at the original perspective that I think mostly matches our photograph. And let's go back to that right there. What do y'all think? Okay, so that's gonna do it. What did y'all think? Could my model be a relatively accurate representation of what we're looking at in this photograph? You be the judge. Please leave your comment down below, as well as like and subscribe so you don't miss any of these episodes. And as always, let's keep looking for the truth, because we love the UFOs. Till next time.